Hi, I'm Raya.
And I'm Brandon.
And you're watching
More Love with R&B.
Okay.
Yep.
Today, Brandon is feeling better.
I am. Finally. Hey.
The last few weeks, our whole house, except for me, got sick.
Yes.
And yeah, you're definitely feeling better.
Feeling way better now.
But that actually is along the lines of what we wanted to talk to you today. How to take care of your spouse when they're sick.
Yes.
And be intentional within your marriage. So a lot of times when a spouse is sick, the only thing you really do is physically take care of their symptoms, right? You have a fever, so I'm just going to make sure I'm giving you all the water. And, oh, do you need a cold compress? And, you know, here's some blankets. And, you know, like you take care of the symptoms, which you should do.
Correct. You should.
Okay. But the intentionality in your marriage goes away. And then depending on how long the illness is, after the illness, your spouse feels connected. Because you've been loving on them and taking care of their physical needs. But you, the carer,
the caregiver,
feels, you know, disconnected. And now that your spouse is sprightly and ready, you're like, I'm exhausted physically and like emotionally, you know, or whatever, my well is dry. So we wanted to give just a couple of tips on what you can do just in case your spouse is sick, and to make sure that you still are intentional with building your marriage.
Okay.
Can we go first?
Of course.
Okay. So the first tip would be to continue to have conversations. Now, sometimes it's tough to set aside time to talk, depending on if your spouse has to be like quarantined or if your spouse is away, like in the hospital or something like that. But even if the communication is notes, texts, a little something to just say, babe, I know you're not feeling well, but I love you and I'm so glad that we're in this together, or just something that stimulates that connection. If your spouse is in the same house and you don't have to quarantine, then just for a couple of seconds when they're awake and you're, you know, changing out their water bottle or whatever, just say something that doesn't have to do with just the illness, but connect you guys together. I think that could go a long way.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I think that also lets the person that is sick know that A, I'm still married. 2, there's life outside of being sick. Like you can be sick, but there's life outside of that. So having someone who's taking care of a sick person, to, you know, just that it reminds them that, hey, I know you're sick, but there's other aspects of life that we still need to cater to. So I think it just really does give you the opportunity, if you are sick, to remember that life in this house isn't just all about my sickness.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't make it that way.
Yeah. And that kind of sort of brings me to the next point for the caregiver. Try your best.
I don't even...
Try your best to not get irritated. And the reason why is because that can bleed into how you take care of your spouse. So I'm so sorry. Sometimes like you have your kids. I'm just gonna look. I'm gonna keep it real.
Keep it all.
I am saying what I believe, especially wives, what they feel. You have your children, and then your husband gets sick, and he becomes your child. It's true. Comment in the comment section below. Please tell me.
We definitely finna dive into that, but I'm gonna let you finish.
But it can cause there to be an emotional irritation when you're dealing with a sick spouse, because they're extremely needy and it's not their fault. And I think that has to be the mentality, like the fact that my spouse is sick or recovering from a surgery or this, that, and the third, and they need me, is not necessarily their fault. And so I'm not going to allow irritation to take over, because your spouse who's sick can feel that. and you don't want to start creating distance while your spouse is sick. So lovingly care for them. Put yourself in their shoes and say, if I was sick, I would want my spouse to lovingly and willingly take care of me when I'm down for the count and very vulnerable. So be that to your spouse. Go above and beyond and give them the care that they need without being irritated that you have yet another child to take care of. And not child like belittling, but you have another person that you now have to feed and clothe and like do things for. It can get tough. I'm just saying. I'm just gonna put it.
It can get tough. It can.
I'm just gonna put it out there.
It can get tough.
Wait, what you got to say?
I'm just saying. You trying to say I'm like I am not helpless when I'm sick, and you know that. I hung a TV the second day of me being sick, so you know I don't just lay around. Oh, babe, oh, babe.
You're taking this very personally.
You know.
This is not. Not specific
I'm just
to
making
you.
sure your points are just general.
This is
points.
not specific. This is for the world.
Okay. All right. I'm good.
Okay.
Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it.
Do you have any other
No, that
points
was
and
good.
tips and tricks?
No, that was good because I've also been on that side, having to care for a sick family when I've been the only one that was not sick. And yeah, I think there does become a point where focus needs to be, like you got to be locked in to like you said, like it's not these people's fault that they're sick. You know, your kids maybe because you tell them to stay out of people's faces and they don't listen. But in the general scheme, it's not their fault. And typically if they bring it home and everybody else gets it, like, you know, here's the thing. It doesn't even matter whose fault it is. We're here now. So it would behoove the well person to lock in and just do what needs to be done. It's not gonna be forever. It's not gonna last forever. And like you said, everybody can feel it if you're really annoyed and angry. Oh, I just brought you soup. Like, oh my gosh, like I'm sorry. You know, and so, you know, and also real quick too, anyone who's sick doesn't want to be sick. So getting aggravated with them is not going to help at all. So try to be loving, overly compassionate, because it's not somewhere they want to be.
Absolutely. And I love the point that you made about it's not going to last forever, which leads me to my final point. Make plans for when the person is well. Number one, I think it's a motivator for you to hang in there and have something that either you, the caregiver, can look forward to when your spouse is better, or something that you both can look forward to. So maybe you might say, babe, when you're well and you can take care of the kids, I want a spa day. Or, hey, babe, when you're better, I want to go out on a date and have somebody watch the kids. Something that you both can look forward to, I feel like rejuvenates you and gets you. And actually, I do think that I would say do something for the both of you.
Yeah, I was going to say
because that's another way that you guys can reconnect. But I do think it's also important to fill back into you as you've been pouring out. But that could be something that connects the both of you. And it's something that can give you something to look forward to.
And I think you should also, as you plan for life after being sick, plan on showing gratitude. Because you cannot really, depending on the sickness, you can't show the gratitude that you want, maybe the way you want in that moment. So once everyone is well, you need to say, hey, like, I really appreciated everything you've done. Taking care of a sick family can be a thankless job. And not because nobody wants to say thank you, but they're just trying to get around being sick. Right. Scratching and surviving through this sickness. But I think that most people in those situations, they're literally just thinking, okay, when I took medicine 3 hours ago, I need water. And your head is not even in the same place. So plan to be grateful when you can express your gratitude in whatever way you want.
Yeah. So that's our tips.
Yes.
We hope that you guys are well. If you're not, we hope you get well soon.
Indeed, because it sucks being sick.
Yeah, we hope you liked this video. If you did, please leave us a comment. What do you do when your spouse is sick? And how do you take care of one another during that time? We want to know.
Yes. And maybe somebody else can benefit from that as well.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you later.
Bye.